How's it going, everyone? My name is Anthony, aka ComicsRGreat, and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be going over the comics I picked up on Wednesday, July 28th. I have a little over 20 comics to get through, so without further ado, let's get this party started. So the first comic on the list is from Marvel Comics is Amazing Spider-Man number 71. This is the B cover. This issue was written by Nick Spencer with interior work by Federico Vincentini and Federico Sabatini. The cover work was done by Peach Momoko. As you can see, this cover is of Gwen Stacy, aka Spider-Gwen or Ghost Spider. I don't exactly know what she's going by nowadays. I don't follow her character very much. But this issue begins the Sinister War story arc. And it's supposed to end with the possible death of Peter Parker. So spoiler alert, I don't know if that's how that's going to turn out, because in the latest issue of Marvel Previews, it shows a picture of Ben Reilly with Peter Parker dressed as Spider-Man right next to him. Anything can happen in comics, as you all know. So we'll see how this all plays out. The next issue on the list from Marvel Comics is Black Widow issue number 9, written by Kelly Thompson with interior work by Elena Casagrande and Rafael de la Torre. The cover work is done by Adam Hughes. So in this issue, Black Widow goes to rescue Yelena and Lucy and is met up by a familiar character. So the three of them decide to team up against the might of Apogee, which continues in issue number 10. I'm definitely looking forward to that fight, because as we all know, Black Widow is a bit of a badass, and she's great at martial arts. And so far, this series is pretty action packed. So definitely looking forward to the next issue. All right, so this cover is again just like the last one, Black Widow issue number 9, but this cover is drawn by the great Mark Brooks. As you can see with this variant, this is the celebrating the 80th anniversary of Captain America. There's been a number of different Marvel comics that have the variant covers celebrating 80 years of Captain America, and this is no exception. Just like Miles Morales from the week before, with that issue with Miles dressed as a Spider-Man variant of Captain America suit. This one is Black Widow in her version of a Captain America suit, slinging around his shield. And Mark Brooks does an awesome job with this, and like he does for most of his covers. And I'm looking forward to the next version. Hopefully it'll be just as good, if not better, than this one. All right, from Boom Studios, we have Berserker number 4, written by Keanu Reeves and Matt Kindt, drawn by Ron Garney and Bill Crabtree. The cover is drawn by Raphael Grandpa. So this is the 4th issue for this arc. It's exploring the origin of Unute, who was both man and tool of war for nearly 80,000 years. So right now he works with the United States government to try and figure out if there's a way to make him mortal and to be able to die. In doing so, he finally begins to remember how he first started, when he was first born. So this, I believe, is the end of that arc. There's a lot of blood and guts violence in here, especially 80,000 years ago. We're talking about possible caveman era. Definitely worth picking up, and definitely worth the action, especially considering that Keanu Reeves is one of the writers on this. All right, the next issue on the list from AWA Upshot is Chariot issue number 5, written by Brian Edward Hill and drawn by Priscilla Petrates. The cover work is done by Jeff DeCal. So in this issue is the end of the miniseries. When a woman's soul gets trapped in the body of a car, she meets an ex-con who's a driver who needs money for his sick son. Um, so this series has been optioned for a TV show. This is almost like Knight Rider meets the Love Bug. I'm looking forward to reading the first four issues. I do confess that I didn't, but this issue has a lot of action in it. I was a big fan of Knight Rider in its heyday, even with the movie that came out a number of years ago of an updated version. While the series didn't exactly meet expectations, the movie did. So this is definitely going to be, like I said, a very different version, especially with the way technology is nowadays. And I really hope that they continue the series and continue the story because I would definitely pick up the next set. From DC Comics, Checkmate, issue number 2 of 6, written by Brian Michael Bendis, and interior and cover work by Alex Maleev. So I didn't read the first issue yet, but essentially for issues 1 and 2, when Leviathan strikes, taking the resources from the world's leading intelligence agencies, the world's greatest detectives get together to rebuild the primary intelligence gathering agency known as Checkmate. Now, as far as I know, um, if you're going to gather the world's greatest detectives, Batman, Tim Drake, even Ra's al Ghul to me would be on that list. Instead, they have the Question, which is, I mean, he and she are good detectives in their own right. But then you have Green Arrow and Lois Lane. And, in my opinion, Green Arrow still tends to be a bit of a B tier character. And Lois Lane, in my opinion, is more of a truth seeker rather than a detective. Okay, Batman has always been known as the world's greatest detective, and Tim Drake, in his own right, has been known to be even better than Batman. And hell, he figured out at a young age exactly who Batman was, and that was before Batman decided to take him under his wing and train him to be the third Robin. All right, from Marvel Comics, we have Daredevil issue number 32, written by the great Chip Zdarsky. Uh, and this issue was drawn by Mike Hawthorne. The cover work was done by Marco Cicchetto. All right, so with this is a second part of a new story arc called Lockdown. So as you know, Elektra has been taking up the duties as Daredevil while Matt Murdock languishes in prison. So, but there's two stories going on here. Story one is that Bullseye is out on the streets killing as he always does, and the second story is the warden of the prison is going out of control. So now the question is, what will Matt Murdock and Elektra do about both of these people? Especially considering Elektra's history with Bullseye, as he was the first one to put her under the ground to begin with, before her resurrection as an assassin for the Hand. All right, so next issue on the list is Dark Blood #1 from Boom Studios, written by Latoya Morgan, with interior work by Walt Barna, and cover work is done by Valentin Delandro. So this story answers the question of what happens when someone is given the power to change the course of history, in this case, 1955 Alabama. So as you know, during that time, segregation was at its peak in 1955. So we have the protagonist, whose name escapes me. He's given certain powers, and he is approached in the story by a few white people. So what he decides to do with them is anybody's guess. Um, in my opinion, this story is worth picking up. Um, This cover is the retailer incentive black and white cover. The week before, I did get the color copy, and so far, in my opinion, looking forward to issue number 2, and I hope that this series, this mini series, which is 6 issues long, meets up with the standards that Boom Studios has been putting out lately, because they've been putting out some really great stuff. From Image Comics, we have Deadly Class, issue number 47, written by Rick Remender, and interior work drawn by Wes Craig, and cover work done by Jeff DeCal. Now, I gotta confess, I have never picked up an issue of Deadly Class, and for all 47 issues. Uh, but the only reason why I got this was because of the cover work done by Jeff DeCal. I mean, I love the contrast between black and white, and then here you have this girl who's obviously an assassin, very good with the blade, because you can see blood dripping from the edge of the blade. So this was a purely cover by. I couldn't pass it up. I know Jeff DeCal has done a few of the previous issues for Deadly Class. I may consider picking them up depending if they meet the same standards as this one, which I'm sure they do. All right, from Image Comics, we have the Department of Truth, issue number 1. This is the 6th print cover, the written by James Tynion IV, interior work and cover work done by Martin Simmons. Now, this was a surprise because I originally thought when I picked this up that this was the right cover. I came to find out a couple of days later that this was an error. The Image Comics printed this on the wrong book. This is supposed to be the cover for the 1:25 ratio issue, and instead they made it the regular cover. So the regular cover is supposed to be a variant of the secret cover from issue 1 way back when, and it was supposed to be in red. So in a couple of weeks, they're going to re-release the true 6-print issue, and I do believe that they're going to reprint this cover on the 1:25 ratio. So what that'll do to the value of this issue is anybody's guess, but I'm hoping that it does go up, real soon. All right, so along with the 6 printing, we have Department of Truth, issue number 11. This is the A cover, drawn by Martin Simmons. So just like the first issue, this issue is still written by James Tynion IV, and the interior work also done by Martin Simmons. So I've never read any of these issues yet, while I do have them, but I will give you a brief synopsis of how the whole series has gone. This issue continues to follow the story of Cole Turner, who's looking for the true history of America. How he uncovers the truth is anybody's guess, but he's definitely going after it, no matter how bizarre or how strange that truth really is. So this arc, from what I understand, is about Bigfoot. Hence, that's again, Bigfoot exactly is kind of strange and has a mysterious background, but Cole Turner is looking for the truth behind the mysterious creature that roams around America. So I'm looking forward to reading it, but not looking forward to it at the same time, because so far from what I've seen of this issue, it's very wordy. Not a lot of action, but very wordy and very mysterious at the same time. Okay, so this is the B cover from Department of Truth, issue number 11. The cover was drawn by Trevor Henderson. As you can see, it's supposed to be either a gorilla or Bigfoot, possibly. I've gotten used to picking up the B covers drawn by the great Jenny Frison. So in my opinion, this cover is a bit of a disappointment. I got it just on a whim, because it is the Department of Truth, and the Department of Truth issues, little by little, are increasing in value. So I hope for the future that this will be no exception, despite the strangeness of the story arc. All right, from Mirka Andolfo, we have Sweet Paprika. So Mirka Andolfo does the writing and interior art duties. She also did the main cover, which I did not pick up. This is the variant cover drawn by the great Stanley Artgerm Lau. So as everyone knows, Mr. Artgerm uh, was famous for his work on Supergirl. His covers are very realistic, and they almost have that porcelain-like, whatchamacallit, finish to the faces. And the eyes are also, in my opinion, very, very piercing. So he does very detailed and very excellent work, and his use of colors is outstanding. So in this issue, in a world of angels and demons, Paprika, as shown on the cover, is the CEO of a company. However, she has a very dull social life due to the way how her parents raised her. So this series is supposed to be The Devil Wears Prada meets Sex in the City. It's going to be a lot of fun from what I gather. And it's going to be an interesting series. I may pick up issue 2, but if I do, it's definitely going to be another virgin cover done by another great artist. Because from what I understand, each issue is going to have a different variant cover done by different artists in the industry, just like this one. So I hope to get the virgin cover for each one. All right, from DC Comics, we have Robin #4, written by Josh Williamson, interior work by Jorge Corona, cover work by Gleb Melnikov. So for this issue, the arc, Robin is in a tournament and trying to find out the history or the ties between the League of Lazarus and the League of Assassins. So in this issue, Robin, gets saved by his pet Goliath, and Goliath decides to drop him off at the feet of his grandfather, the great Ra's al Ghul. So Robin spends the day with him, training and trying to figure out what exactly is up, with the League of Assassins and what they have to do with the League of Lazarus, which he has never heard about up until this point. So he gets help at the end with certain familiar characters, and I'm looking forward to issue #5 to see how everything begins to play out, because the arc should be finished within the next couple of issues. All right, so this is the B cover to Robin issue #4. So this cover is drawn by Francis Manapul. As you can see, Ravager's on the front. So Ravager is the daughter of Deathstroke the Terminator, who's a famous assassin in the DC world, and she is no exception. So she was also taking part in the tournament, as well as Connor Hawke, who is the son of Green Arrow. So in my opinion, Connor Hawke is a lot more dangerous than his father, but how he compares to Ravager and Damian is anybody's guess. But supposedly in issue 3, Connor Hawke gets the best of Damian. And if they meet up again, something tells me that Damian will definitely get the best of him. All right, from Aftershock Comics, we have Shadow Doctor issue #5, written by Peter Calloway with interior work done by George Gentil. The cover work was done by Mark Chiarello. So the interesting thing about this series is that this is based on the life of Peter Calloway's grandfather, Nathaniel. So Nathaniel in the 1930s was a black doctor trying to set up shop because he couldn't find work at any of the hospitals in Chicago. So no one was willing to give him a loan except for one person. the dangerous Al Capone. And Al Capone tries to warn him off, but Nathaniel really wants to set up a clinic or his own office so he could start a practice in Chicago. So Al Capone gives him the money. But what Nathaniel doesn't know is that with that money comes a price, a very heavy price of helping out Al Capone. So in this issue, which is the end of the first series, because there will be a follow-up series to this, which I'm looking forward to, um, Al Capone's enemies approach Nathaniel and they just try to squeeze him. So Nathaniel wants to find a way out from from the underworld. So he comes up with his own solution, and the second series will deal with the after effects of that decision that Nathaniel makes. All right, next up from Marvel Comics is Shang-Chi, issue number 3, written by Jean Luang Yang, interior work by D.K. Rowan, and cover work by Lionel Francis Yu. So this cover actually pays homage to the Incredible Hulk issue number 340 in a slightly different way. So in issue 340, you have Wolverine's claws showing the reflection of the Incredible Hulk. On this cover, you have Shang-Chi on the floor, and on his bracelets, you see Wolverine's reflection. So with this issue, what what exactly happens that Shang-Chi winds up in the crosshairs of Wolverine? Well, you gotta pick it up to find out. And it's a great action-packed issue. I'm definitely gonna look forward to issue number 4 as Shang-Chi comes into crosshairs yet with another Marvel family, and how he gets through that one. I'm definitely intrigued to find out. From Image Comics, we have Skybound X, issue number 4 of 5. So this cover is the 1 in 10 cover done by Carrie Randolph. There are a number of writers and creators for Skybound X. So essentially, this miniseries covers 3 stories, from what I believe, and they're written by the creators. Some of those creators are, hold on one second, Robert Kirkman, Carrie Randolph, Donny Cates, and a number of others. So they're setting up the next 10 years for Skybound, which is a part of Image Comics, hence the name of the title, Skybound X. Once I grab a hold of issue number 5, I look forward to reading all 5 issues in its entirety and seeing just what kind of a universe Robert Kirkman and company have installed in store for us to check out. All right, from Boom Studios, we have Something is Killing the Children, issue number 18, written by the great James Tynion IV, with cover and interior work done by Werther Dell'Edera. So, the current arc for Something is Killing the Children focuses on the origin of Erica Slaughter and how she becomes a part of the Order of St. George. So I have to confess again, this is the first time I read Something is Killing the Children, despite the fact I have issues 10 through 18. So I'm definitely going to have to go back, pick up the trade paperback, and start reading this great series from issue number 1. I hope in the near future I get a chance to pick up those first 9 issues, because this series has been an inferno, not a fire, an inferno from when it first came out. And it hasn't even been 2 years since the introduction of this great series. So I'm looking forward to reading the previous issues, as well as looking forward to issue number 19 and the new series that's going to be coming out this fall, House of Slaughter. And just a little tidbit for you guys out there. Next weekend, on Saturday, August 14th, is Free Comic Book Day. And one of the issues that is of great interest to the comic community is Enter the House of Slaughter, which you should be able to get for free if you visit your local LCS. All right, next issue on the list is from Image Comics, is Spawn number 320, written by great and famous Todd McFarlane, with interior work by Carlo Barberi. And this is the C cover drawn by the great Francesco Mattina. So I first became aware of Mr. Mattina's work on his recent run of Batman. What I didn't know was that I had a number of his covers from when he did a run on The Flash. As you can see, this cover is very dark, but his use of dark and light is amazing, and to me, how he paints the details of Spawn, and how with his chains in the background, along with the smoky aura of the night sky, to me is amazing. He's one of those artists that if I could, I would pick up every one of the covers that Mr. Mattina draws, and this is no exception. So in this issue, Cygor fights Soul Crusher to the death. Who wins? Well, you gotta spend $2.99 to find out. From Marvel Comics, we have Star Wars The High Republic, issue number 7, written by Cavan Scott, with interior work by George Janti and Carl Story, cover work by Phil Noto. So in this issue, Keith Trennis tries to come to grips with the death of her master and her recurring nightmares. And in the process, she gets a visit from an unusual person. So this person comes to her, not through someone else, but through the Force. And as we know, those of us who have watched Star Wars, the Force moves and works in mysterious ways. I haven't read the first six I haven't read the first 6 issues yet. I do plan on reading that, plus from IDW, Star Wars The High Republic Adventures, which actually takes place around the same time as this. So catching up on all 13 issues is definitely a high priority for me, as I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and looking forward to seeing how Yoda, who's a young man during this time, how he fits in the whole scheme of things. From DC Comics, we have Superman, Son of Kal-El, issue number 1, written by Tom Taylor, who is doing a fantastic job on Nightwing, and interior work and cover work drawn by John Timms. So this cover pays homage to Superman issue number 1 from 1939, which was originally drawn by the great Joe Shuster, who was one of the creators of Superman. So Superman in this case isn't Kal-El, as we know. This is Jonathan Kent, his son. So Jonathan is now the one who is flying around being Superman in the world, and he begins to question whether or not he has what it takes to be Superman. You know, being Superman comes with a lot of responsibilities and is a really big burden, as Kal-El, or Clark Kent, as we all know. You know, he does a fantastic job, and it leaves pretty big shoes to fill. So when he begins to doubt himself, he goes to his best friend and confidant, Damian Wayne, Batman's son, which is no better person, because they're both like brothers. And Damian Wayne gives him a verbal kick in the pants. So this sharpens Damian. It sharpens Jonathan up, and he gets back to it. So I don't know if I'm gonna continue picking up the rest of the series. I primarily picked this up for this cover and this cover alone. Like I said, I hope to get the reprint of this so I could one day have a nice picture of having both issues side by side. And the last issue on my list from IDW Publishing is Usagi Yojimbo, issue number 20. Drawn, written, and cover all done by Stan Sakai. So this is the 20th printing of the first appearance of Yukichi Yamamoto, who is a new recurring character in the Usagi Yojimbo series. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Stan Sakai does with Yamamoto-san, as he said in Japanese, and how this will change Usagi Yojimbo's world. Thanks for hanging out with me today and checking out my new comic book day haul from July 28th. If you have any comments or suggestions on how to make my channel better, please leave me a comment down below. Also, if it's not too much trouble, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button if you indeed like my content, and subscribe to my channel so you know when I post any new videos in the future. So from my family to yours, have a great day, and remember, comics are great, and so are you.